Hello dear ladies and gentlemen. A key fundamental etiquette rule is we should be mindful when addressing people. Introducing people the wrong way will make your speech seem careless and may cause insult. The latest craze of woke, non-binary forms of addressing each other is demeaning and attacking people's identity and confidence. Honorific titles are disappearing from our beautiful English language, and we need to protect the honorific titles before the progressive radicals turn us into Thing 1 and Thing 2, which will fit in very well in the current climate of Disney. We have honorific titles that outline a man or a woman's title. Hence, it is indisputable that pronouns are senseless and most distasteful. The current pronoun fad, which shows support for the transgender community, has been creeping into society and is another way of attacking our traditions and the institution of family. From an etiquette perspective, by placing a pronoun in your email or bio on social media shows very poor etiquette, because it is selfish to enforce an unfounded ideology which is disrespectful to our natural biology. MX is a title recently endorsed by the progressive liberals to address someone that does not want to be identified by their sex. Do we need to confuse our children even more? There is no coincidence the title is pronounced mix, which is precisely what it does, mix and confuse people. You will hear liberal activists often call it modern etiquette. In fact, influencers who claim to be etiquette coaches are embracing and teaching gender pronouns and are working hard to normalise a dysfunctional society by confusing people's gender identification. Master is a courtesy title for young boys too young to be addressed as Mr. However, Master is not common nowadays. It may be used in formal correspondence with young boys until the age of 12. Then the young man would go by his name until he turns 18, which would then become Mr. While Mrs. is a title used to address a married woman formally, or for a woman who has been married in the past or is a widow, a married woman always adopts their husband's surname. Mrs. indicates Mrs. Yates is married to Mr. Yates. In speech and writing, the rule is to use Mrs. when we are sure of a woman's marital status, and she does not go by another title, such as Doctor, Baroness, Lady, etc. Miss is a title to use to address a woman who is not married, and for female students, teachers, and young girls. Miss is a respectable title followed by a woman's first name, regardless of her age. For example, in the movie Driving Miss Daisy, Jessica Tandy played Miss Daisy, and Australian etiquette queen June Dally Watkins preferred the title simply Miss Dally. And let us not forget the most remarkable fictional detective of all time, the one and only Miss Marple. Note, all three ladies were elderly and used the title Miss correctly. Hence, when no honorific title is known, Miss is the safest choice. Or you may state their name only. Did I leave out Ms? Well, let's talk about it. Ms dates to at least 1901 and originally was a shortened form for mistress. Sheila Michaels was a feminist and an American civil rights activist who, half a century ago, fought a campaign to popularise Ms for women. Michaels had first seen Ms on an address label on a Marxist magazine posted to her friend she lived with in Manhattan, and initially thought it was a typo. In 1969, Michaels was invited to a New York FM radio station where the term was first proclaimed. This inspired another political activist, Gloria Steinem, who was looking for the name for the feminist magazine she founded in 1972. Soon afterward, a New York Democrat congresswoman introduced legislation that included women no longer had to reveal their marital status on federal forms. In 1986, Ms. was embraced by the New York Times, appearing on the front page, and in speech and in writing. Feminists state that the rule for using Ms. is applied when we do not know a woman's marital status, which is nonsense and is an aggressive push to accept this scarcity title in polite society. Many progressive liberal outlets encourage their readers to use the feminist title Ms. In fact, the Guardian Style Guide, for example, states use Ms. for women unless they have expressed a preference for Miss or Mrs., which is very misleading because it's not proper etiquette to go against protocol and the true meaning of these titles. Sheila Michaels told The Guardian in 2007 she had not seen many marriages she would want to emulate. You see, feminists proclaim it can be offensive to assume a woman is married by addressing her as Mrs. and greatly encourage the use of Ms. instead of Mrs. and Miss. The hypocrisy of this condescending narrative is an insult and direct attack against our family traditions and values. There is no regard for the traditional lady who believes in and respects the constitution of marriage. It can be very offensive to use the Ms. title by assuming she may not be forthcoming and possibly ashamed of her husband, which can present a problem in business, such as Mr. Playboy assuming the woman is available to men by not proclaiming her marital status may imply she does not take her marriage seriously. By assuming the lady is Ms., you could demean the single lady who is a Miss, or embarrass the married lady who should go by Mrs., especially those who believe and respect the constitution of marriage, or the lady that is indeed a Miss. Being single or married is something women should not be ashamed of. Both are titles to be proud of. While working with high society, I have never encountered a woman requesting I address her as Ms. However, I have seen Ms. on dossiers. My strategy was then to call the woman Madam. This is how I got around not having to say a demeaning title, which I do not believe in, because of the disrespectful connotations it holds towards marriage, without the woman noticing or being offended. Take note from the most respected lady in the world, the Queen. Did you know Ms. is frowned upon in polite society because it can be perceived as being disingenuous and strongly vocalises the shame of being married or being single? Using the Ms. title is no different than removing your wedding ring and hiding it. Even Queen Elizabeth found the made-up title Ms. much too indignified and refused to use Ms. either verbally or in writing. Today's feminists are obsessed with gender neutralising us by turning women into men and men into women. Gender pronouns are just another approach to emasculate men and women for that matter. Just imagine what would happen if we lost our identity and could no longer think for ourselves. We would lose all our confidence. The true meaning of etiquette is about being kind and respectful. However, it is impossible to bestow kindness and respect if you do not respect yourself first and foremost. When we understand the code of polite behaviour, etiquette, poise and deportment, it gives us confidence in any social setting. After all, the male sex is born to be a man, and the female sex is born to be a woman. But it takes work to be a lady or a gentleman. I hope you found this interesting. Please remember to subscribe and like, and do kindly leave a comment, as I do read my comments. And do remember, dear ladies and gentlemen, always be gracious and confident. Till the next time.